Yes, I'm May Charles, and welcome to this slideshow where I will be taking you through switches in the aircraft. And let's go straight to the introduction. Switches are devices used to put on and off either system uh, or electrical, and in the aircraft in aeroplane, electrical installation switches and relays principally perform the function of installing and controlling the operating sequences of the circuit breakers. Through though they control the flow of current to and within the systems and are regarded as only circuit protection devices. In simplest form, the the switch consists of contact surfaces which, when pressed or operated, they isolate the system, and there is a moving link which is called a pole, and the number of circuits it controls is known as a throw. So we have a single pole, single throw, and single pole double throw, and we have a double pole single throw and double pole double throw. And as you can see from the screen, those are how they look like in terms of a circuit. If a switch has only one operating toggle, it's known as single pole switch, and this explains what I've just mentioned before. And but a switch where two or three toggles have been grouped together is known double or triple pole switch. Switches which use two or three position switches may be fitted with guard or latches to hold them in their normal operating positions, which cover plates, spring-loaded sliding guides, or physical strains, all of which have to be moved to operate the switch. Switches used in the aircraft or the aeroplane. Together, toggle switches, double switches. These are general purpose switches and extensively used. They are simple, which have an on and off function and may be ganged or guarded to be two or three position devices. So as it is, you can see it has a steel cover and elastomer toggle seal and all that, and pretty much it looks like that. It has a cover contact where you put your wires and where you move. Number two, push switches. These are used for short duration of operation when a circuit is to be completed or interrupted for short duration. Other types are designated to close one or more circuits through separate contacts while operating another circuit. They may be designated for either push to make normally open, or push to break, which is normally closed. Some contain small lamps which illuminate legends. These are typically used in turboprop engine starts and stop circuits and operate either manually or electromagnetically. So switching house, switch actuating and illuminated lanes assembly, transit scheme, and lamp contactors. You can find these on the dash of an aircraft, and most of the time they're used. And rocker pattern switches. These switches combine the action of both toggle push button switches, e.g. in a generator system. A single switch may allow on-off selectable and is set spring-loaded selections to be made, and as from the switch, you could see, just as normal as the one that we have back at home on our walls for putting on the lights. Rotary switch. These switches are manually operated and are often used in place of toggle switches. A typical use is selection of a single voltmeter between several busbar, generator and battery. Micro switches. These are special types of switch and are type most extensively used in aeroplanes. It is a switch in which the travel between make and break in order of a few thousandths of an inch. Pretty much and pretty nice. Design and application. Activation of micro switches, designs of lever, roller or cam. Applications: landing gear systems to indicate the position of the indicator lights, door warning systems, power lever, sequencing of system of operation, arming of power augmentation system, nose wheel and main wheel weights on switches to ensure that the system do not operate on ground. And those are the applications. Now we go to rheostats. These are switches used to alter the amount of current in a circuit by varying the overall resistance to vary the intensity of the panel or a flight deck lighting. They normally also have an off position to completely remove the current. Time switches require to operate predetermined controlled time sequence, usually linked to and are controlled by an electric motor. Example: switching of power between the heater mats on propeller or between pairs of propeller plates to activate the icing. In some sequence, the time switch operations can be varied, which is done by a rocker or toggle switch via a continuous operating time switch that selects both for different time sequence. Mercury switches, glass tubes in which stationary contacts and pool of loose mercury are hermetically sealed. Tilting the tube causes the mercury to flow and close or open a gap, thus make or break a circuit. Typically, application is in torque motor circuits of artificial horizons where the gyro must be forced to and be maintained in vertical position. And this is how it is, the contacts, and when it's moved the circuit completes to these contacts and there is current flow. Pressure switches used to indicate high and low pressure in systems where pressure measurement is involved, e.g. hydraulic systems, usually linked to warning captions to indicate high or low pressure outside normal limits. And pressure switches are also indicating cabin pressurization systems to indicate the high differential pressure and cabin altitudes above set limits. And the last, thermal switches. These switches are used in systems where warning of excessive heat is required, e.g. in engine fire and overheating warning